All my friends have dreads. 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 All my friends have dreads.
The following production has been brought to you by the Hippie Broadcasting Network. WTHC Radio and Stoner Records. Now here's our hosts, Regular B and Rebel Rich.
What's going on, everybody?
Yo.
Welcome to episode number four. Yeah, four.
Yep.
I am your host. Of All My Friends Have Dreads. I am your host, Regular Brando. I do not have dreads. This is my co-host, Rebel Rich. He does have dreads. I am here with our co-host taking over the show with us, Michael from Elephants Dancing fame and Saturn and the Hula Hoops as well. What's going on, guys?
What's up, everybody?
It's good to see everybody.
How was everybody's week?
That was cool.
I mean, I worked. It wasn't bad. It went pretty quick, man. You know, getting up at 4 a.m. every day. But you know, how was your week?
How about you, Michael?
It was pretty solid, man. We Elephants had a show at Hogs Hollow, and then we played a show last night at the V Spot in Scranton.
Yeah,
it was also me and my girl's anniversary / also where we met / I got to play Pop Punk Love Song, which is about that day where I'm literally saying the bar's name, like the venue's name in it. So that was it was really cool. And we also played a couple Halloween songs to prepare for our Halloween show on November 1st at the V Spot.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get
it. Good.
You have a show coming up with Rome Ramirez, don't you?
Yeah, we do. So excited for that, man. I've been listening to Rome since before I really understood what reggae ska like music sounded like, you know.
Right. He's same thing, man. My first concert in this genre was Sublime with Rome in 311 in 2011, and that's what brought me down this rabbit hole to where I'm sitting today. So we're gonna be there. I hope to get to tell Rome, like maybe fanboy a little bit, like, yo, bro, your music changed my life, because for real, it did. Like it really did, and it came to me at a time that I really needed it.
So before we get too far, I want to talk about the show at the V Spot, because that was, I know, so that's Killer Buns Media. I don't know if you know that, Rich. That's Robin.
Yeah. I was just
how did
say.
it go? Did you get a nice turnout?
Oh no, it was sick. Yeah, it was good. It was a good turnout. All the bands were solid. You know, went smoothly. It was really fun. It was cool to see a lot of the local homies, because we don't really play around here all that much and stuff like that, you know. And we love playing the V Spot. It's like one of the only hometown venues besides like a few others, you know.
I did a cool Halloween gig last night. So it was Sleepy Hollow with the band called Pixie Twist. There's like Sleepy Hollow Haunted Acres out here. It's like multiple different attractions, bonfires, a band. Pixie Twist, shout out to Pixie Twist, awesome band. It was a great time. But yeah, so that's another thing. If anyone needs sound gigs, like if you need to book sound guys, reach out. Either me, reach out to Michael, whatever you gotta do. But Brandon at Rebel Sounds Rising will take care of you. No matter what the genre is, whether it's reggae or not, we got a label for you.
So yeah, I wish I could have made it yesterday, but.
Come on the 18th. We're gonna wear costumes on the 18th. It's gonna be even cooler. So
well, I would really like to try to make the Interstar Awards. Like that's still in my plan. So you know what I mean. So if not, you know, I'm
gonna say Star Wars.
In the Star Awards. So the Interstar Trailblazer Awards. So Jacinth Headlam, shout out. She's a Jamaican immigrant from. Yeah, Jamaican immigrant, and she's a producer, an actress, an author, and she
Good
puts
beats.
on. She's very like, she works really hard with the community, very close to the community, and she puts on the Interstar Trailblazing Awards, and she gives recognition and awards to people that are doing special things within their community or within the arts. Like the first year I went to it, I met Jeremy Meeks, the dude that got famous from his meme. If you remember that dude, the dude that it was a mug shot, and all the girls went crazy for him. The dude got famous.
Oh, yeah,
that guy. And then, but they gave Roxanne Shante an award, so that was really neat to be able to witness that, And it's a red carpet event, and Jacinth puts it on, and she's a part of the network, so like to go and support it. It's really cool.
No, that sounds sick. I did get a little excited. I thought we were gonna talk about Star Wars for a second, but
I love Star Wars, bro. Listen, we can talk Star Wars. I love Star Wars.
I could talk about John Williams for hours, man. He's one of my favorite film composers. So.
Well, I mean, it is about like rebel stuff, so I mean,
right?
It's kind of on brand, right?
Yeah.
We will not let the Republic take over.
No, so we generally have a heavy mental health theme on this show. I think we're gonna kind of back off it a little bit this week and talk
we should do a little recap.
We will. We're gonna recap. Yeah. Go ahead. You want to do the recap? Talk about Josh last week and Phil.
Last week we had Josh Baker and Phil Gold from the Concrete Jungle in Lehighton, PA, the do-it-yourself backyard skate park. They also are a 501c3. And Josh and Phil both shared their stories with us, man. And like, it touched a lot of people. It makes you like realize that, man, like as bad as things are for you, it's always worse. There's somebody that's going through even harder to get to the point where you put a barrel in your mouth and you pull the trigger. Like that's like, remember when we were talking about rock bottom? Is there really a rock bottom? Like, I think that is the rock bottom. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's what I mean? I'm so blessed. Like, it's crazy because he went full circle. Like, you know what I mean? So it's Josh's story is just one that shows that there's a way out of addiction. There's a way out of mental health if you just try to live a healthier lifestyle and be more cognitive of your decisions. And you know what I mean? It's just thanks, Ganjavelli.
A lot of
anyways,
times that way out is through helping other people too, and you see that a lot with those people who were really far down. Like, I mean, we were there, and then now we try to help people whenever we possibly can. But I mean, he takes it, he's running with it, and that's awesome. We do.
Last night.
Go ahead.
Right, or was it Friday or Saturday? He did the international night out. He brought the cops had him bring the mobile skate park down and set it up and had it at National Night Out with the police at that. Right there, man, like full circle. And then he had a child after it all. Like, God has, God has his plan for that dude. Like, he really does. I know I've only been friends with him for like 3 years, and he's seriously, had a big impact on my life.
I do want to stress, shout out to anyone struggling, reach out to either myself, reach out to Rich. I think you're ready to say shout out to Concrete Jungle, Rich, Phil, Scotty, love those guys, Jen, love all of them. Anything else you want to say before we start rolling a little bit here?
Nah, I just think that what you said was perfect.
From hearing that, because I didn't see it, but from hearing that, I would say, like, for me, obviously everybody has things that bring them down. Everybody has terrible days. Everybody has stuff that happens that's rough, and people go through a lot of different things. My only advice that I could say that helps me is just like, if you have a passion, chase it till the end of the world, and if you don't, take on a bunch of different hobbies and keep yourself open to something that you randomly find out you love doing, and just do that thing. Like, I can disappear in the world and just have the concept of music and like the ability to manipulate it and recreate it and use it and kind of just explore it, create with it, that kind of a thing. And like, I'd be happy forever. I'd be happy forever. That's like, I'm very simple when it comes to what's going to keep me going. And it's like, that is my heart and soul is there. And I know a lot of people who are similar to that with music. I know people who are similar to that with art. Luckily, I've had experience teaching. I know people who are about that as teaching, which is great. Like, I hope anybody who sees this will have a child that gets a teacher like that. You know, it's
right.
But it's passion, like having a passion for something. It doesn't need to be passion, just like a hobby that you just find yourself being like, if you're okay driving a distance to do something that's just for you to do it, you know, that should be a sign for you. You know, if you spend money on something just so you can, you know, mess around with it or play with it or, you know, work on using it in different ways, like whatever it may be. That's my thing. That's all I can say. It might not be for everybody, but that's after hearing that, you know.
No, for sure. And that actually, that's what Josh did. Like, he dove head first back into skateboarding. He just built another section on his park. I mean, and the same thing with, like, you know, me. I've been, you know, Brandon, we've talked about, I've been dealing with mental health, but now that this podcast has actually kind of helped me, just talking about this, being here every Sunday, you know, so, and every little bit of money I spend on this now is going towards helping people. So, you know, but yeah.
Yeah. Time is the one resource we can never get back. And that makes it more valuable than anything. So, I mean, if you kind of describe my situation in a way. That's what I do now. Like, for the last year and a half, we took L's on shows just to be able
to look at the result too. Like, you meet people when you meet people who are similar to you and have similar experiences when you throw yourself into the things that make you happy. Like, that's it. It's as simple as that.
Like, we've had the pleasure of, you know, working with some of our favorite artists, like Luke and Fire, our roots reggae artists, you know, people that we listen to heavy, we got to work with, and it's amazing.
It's funny. Half the people on my playlist, like, I have their numbers in my phone. It's nuts. Like, I really feel blessed. I really think this is an awesome opportunity laid out.
And that's just a perk, though. That's not even why I'm saying, you know what I mean? That's a perk. That's like a really cool thing to have a result of it. But the idea is just like, you know, like you said with time, like, find the thing that you love to do and just do it. If it's helping people, just do that, man. Like, if it's making things, do that. If you like to be a business, whatever it may be. But
right, exactly.
So, Michael, you touched on your teacher, on a teacher like you had, or teachers like you had.
Mm-hmm.
So you are also a teacher, or were at some. I don't think you're. Apparently
this year I'm not doing it, but like, I'll always be a student. And for some I have a few students who still come to Elephant Show. So like, I'm still there. You know what I mean? I'm still a teacher. I'm still gonna correct them. You know, like, I'm still gonna be like, hey, you can't do that. You can't say, you know, whatever it may be, or tell them some cool stuff that they may be like itched on, or like, hey, asking a question about music stuff, and I'll gladly sit there and talk to them for hours. Like, it doesn't matter. And at the same time, like, if I see somebody who I think I could learn from, like me and Brandon, we just ran a festival doing sound together, and there was a guy who was very familiar with the board, and it was my first time doing it, and I was so excited to just bug his brain the entire time. Like, hey, I did this.
Hey, but you guys did so awesome.
Like, but yeah, I went to school for music performance and percussion. That's like the bachelor's degree, 4 years, Mansfield, Pennsylvania. Studied with Dr. Adam Brennan, who is a phenomenal composer, phenomenal percussionist, great teacher, amazing band leader. He was really good with marching band stuff. I hated marching band, but he had a good way of making me enjoy it and like seeing the benefits of having done it. And I definitely did get better at like a ton of different things, like significantly better from that. And one of the things, honestly, was like probably discipline. I was like, you know, college kid, for a freshman. I hated that. I was, you know, cursing at it. I did there early. I couldn't play shows, but like it worked. It was really good. It helped me a lot. I'm glad I did it. I would never want to do it again, but I'm glad I did it, kind of a thing, you know. And then I had another teacher there too, was Conrad Alexander. He's one of the best teachers I've ever had. Like, he's one of those guys who could look you in the eyes and be like, how are you doing? And it felt so real. You know, it felt like I could tell him anything and he's just there to help me right now. It is not what you expect from a teacher when you're trying to be a percussionist. Like my lessons were an hour long. Sometimes we'd spend 20 minutes just talking about life. You know, that's why I think I wanted to make sure I said that about Conrad, because he's amazing teacher in that sense, and very professionalism, that kind of thing. And then after I graduated there, I went to UMass Amherst, Massachusetts.
Oh, nice.
And I studied with Dr. Salvatore Macchia. He's a composer who focuses mostly on like post World War II, like I don't want to say atonal. That's kind of a wild term in the music theory composer world, but it was very contemporary for classical. And if you guys don't listen to classical too much, it's not what you would expect. It's very weird sounding. It almost sounds like randomness, but it's the exact opposite of that.
Right.
It's just they use a very wide spectrum of tones and that kind of system where like what the music that we listen to every day, in that world, they consider that Western music.
Okay.
So this is like the advancement of Western music while also including the like musical aspects of different cultures and things like that. Plus, like, you know, in our music world, we have 12 notes. That's the chromatic scale. Typically in a key, like if you pick a key, for example, like D or whatever, you'll have 7 notes and then it starts to repeat itself. And a lot of the music that they create, it'll use all 12 and they will use them evenly sometimes. That's what we call like atonal 12-tone music. But then in addition to that, they'll start using like quarter tones, like in between half step, you know, and like that weird stuff that it's not weird to everybody though. Like in like India, like the sitar is built that way.
How do you accomplish that? Is that through like tuning?
There's actually a matrix, it's called. I can't remember the oh man, I wish I did those. I would sound so smart if I remembered his name. There's a guy who invented it's called like a 12-tone matrix in it, right? And it's a box and it looks like a bingo chart almost. But you create you pick all 12 notes and you pick an order, and this matrix allows you to lay it out in a way where they call them rows. I think that's the word that they use. I don't really write in that style and only studied a few times, but it's basically all mathematical. Like a lot of the ones who are really big into it, who even accomplish that style of writing where everything is equal or mathematically based off of something. Like one of my favorite ones was Xenakis. He's a Greek composer. He wrote a lot for percussion. One of the most famous pieces is a rebonds A and B. And it's like multi-percussion is just like the composer picks a bunch of percussion instruments, gives you a map and places it on the grand staff. And you just set it up how you think you should do it. And you follow that map and that sheet music and play it that way. But he based off his his rhythms and dynamics and everything was very equal and based off of architecture. Because he was like really into that and really, you know, delved into that in his life. So that was how he did that. And then some other ways was more just like the matrix and that kind of thing. But it's not just like you hit A and you can't hit A again until this instrument hits everything else. It's also like if you hit A for the value of a half note, like 2 full beats, you got to make sure everything gets that value until you come back. Like it's very, very even. And it's weird because like for our ears listening to this Western music on the radio or Spotify, whatever it may be, like if you don't listen to that stuff, it sounds I would say bad, you know what I mean? But like when you start to learn about it and you listen to it more, it's not, and you start to hear the balance of it. But it is very, I'm trying to think of the word, like it's very like offsetting, like off-putting, like you're like, whoa, it's not what you expect, but it's constantly not what you expect, and then that becomes expected, which is it's cool. But
interesting.
Yeah, that was school, Massachusetts. A lot of times, like when I was there, Salvatore Macchia, he was into that, right? But he knew what I was into. He knew that I did the reggae band stuff. I learned a lot about like string quartets. That was like my big thing with him. Counterpoint. Counterpoint is like my
talk about that later too. I want to talk about Arcane when we get back from this break.
Oh yeah, man, that was like one time like, sitting in the van, like a 24-part orchestra counterpoint thing on drive down to like I don't even know, man, Philly or something. But
we do have to go.
Listen, we gotta
go pay some bills quick, Michael.
Yes.
We're gonna play Legacy by Mendo Dope, and then we have a word from our sponsor.
Sweet.
I'm leaving a legacy. I'm leaving a legacy. I'm leaving a legacy. What I'm teaching, just carry it on. Take the knowledge with you that I'm giving. Just please remember me when I'm gone. Every song that I sing and seed that I start, it's all been part of a plan. I'm a motivator and I inspire, cause I work as hard as I can. Standing my ground and I'll never give up. It don't matter how many times they knock you down, all that matters is getting back up. Try again and shake off the dust. Pain from the cuffs tied on my wrist didn't stop me from raising my fist. Didn't stop me from putting my life on the line. I'm just helping this culture exist. Raising my kids and they growing up quick. Life is a trip, I don't need any drugs. Sometimes I wish I could just slow down the time, but I'm speeding through all of these bumps. Weed is a gift, say what you want, but without it I probably would have been 6 feet in the ground, caught in the mix. Looking at me like I couldn't be fixed. Done with the tricks, gave them the real. Ain't in it to ball, I'm just paying the bills. Raising my voice when I say how I feel. Tired of how they've been treating us still. Defeating this is an impossible mission. If I was blind, I would still have the vision. If I was deaf, I could still hear the cries of the ganja farmers you locked up in prison. Ganja farmers you locked up in prison. I'm building a legacy. I'm building a legacy. I'm building a legacy. Carving my journey deep into the stone. For the new wave and the next generation of farmers, we teach them to grow. We don't do it to get rich, just some misfits, independent alone. Still calling my homies who passed, cause I'm just hoping they answer the phone. Letting you know that I'll never forget. I can dig it, I've been in the trenches with shovels, I'll tell you how deep it can get. My vision don't follow the script, mic in my grip. Bleezy was rocking the keys. Lyrical farmer, I'm popping my seeds. I'll be on top of the charts when they see, but a third eye is needed for you to believe. This legacy that I leave is full of wisdom. Love that I get, so it's love that I give them. But if it's the opposite and you try stopping it, I'ma be popping it off with precision. Decisions I made, this road that I paved, I walk it without a regret. When you building a legacy, you gotta give it your all, your blood and your sweat. Some work it don't come with a check. Some is just for the neighborhood respect. If you don't stand for something, then you gonna fall for whatever battle is next. Now I'm on deck, next up to bat, trying to carry this weight on my back. I got an army of soldiers who ready for war. This industry's under attack.
Who was this grown by? How was this grown? What does that farm look like? What does that farm feel like? What inputs do they use? I want to transport them to the oak grove where we are at the heart of the Emerald Triangle. I want them to taste the essence of this place.
Small craft farmers are fighting lots of diversity, from the corporate takeover to the climate change, the price drops. We have stuff coming at us from every different angle. We're struggling, but we're still doing this because we love it, and because we have so much passion in it, and because we do want people to be able to smoke the best weed there is. It's very important to us to keep our culture alive.
Are you searching for affordable products and great rosin? Well, look no further. Whether you're keeping it simple or going all out, we've got you covered. Sunny's for everyday deals, and Hash RX for that premium fire. Sunny's keeps your stash affordable, giving you value every single day. When you want the best, Hash RX. Oklahoma's premium live rosin. No solvents, no shortcuts. Affordable or premium, the choice is yours. Find us at Oklahoma dispensaries.
I want to go to Oklahoma for some hash holes.
Yeah, if anybody's
Those
coming
look
through
delicious.
Oklahoma, pick up some hash holes for me.
We do want to thank them. Awesome sponsor. I know they Summer is in she's a fellow co-host on this network. She lives in Oklahoma, so I've heard very good things about the product. So if you're ever in Oklahoma, definitely swing through there. We are here with Michael of Saturn and the Hula Hoops fame. We're talking music. We're talking music theory, talking a little bit of mental health. I know we've had a lot of conversations. You taught me a lot, even just before your shows. Was that the plan? Was teaching the plan, or was that like an afterthought kind of?
it's like the only option in the real world unless you like, you know, get to a certain extent in the creative side of music, like, and it has its value. I mean, I felt blessed when I was teaching. I was taught at a Catholic school for a while, like pre-K through 8th grade. Had a little bit of time where I was also teaching like high school kids. I had a chance to be a teacher assistant when I was getting my master's for like first year to fourth year college students. I love teaching. I love talking about music. I love talking about like music theory, composition, music history, composers, musicology, like the psychology of music, literally anything like that. I could talk about it for literally hours. So I'm literally going to make sure I'm watching the time because I know this has like a limit. But like teaching itself as a job is not my dream, but I've been told I'm good at it, and I enjoy the responses that I get from students. You know what I mean? Like I got students who are in younger grades coming to shows when they're all ages, you know, and if one of them
That's so cool.
has
Though.
a friend that they push to make music, and this kid,
Dude, I remember,
you know, like,
I remember when. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, I remember. I remember back when I was in school, junior high, if we seen our teacher outside of school, it was like weird. Like, oh my God, did you see it? It was like a unicorn. You didn't see your teachers outside of school. Like, you know, and you knew nothing about him either. It was crazy. It's such a different time.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you
it's
off.
like a mind-blowing concept that teachers have like lives and like are actual people too. Like, but at the same time, they're also like probably in like 5th grade. So like, they're not really thinking like that, you know. They're just like, whoa, you know, to see somebody every single day, right? Every day, and then randomly you see them like during the summer
wearing sweatpants.
You know, it has that feeling, like, especially when seeing this person makes you feel like you're in school.
Yes,
that kind of thing. No, but like teaching wasn't always like the goal. Definitely not the goal, but it's one of the stepping stones. You know, I learned a lot more about myself and how I can portray either knowledge or a concept or a technique or whatever it may be through teaching. Like having, like, I found that sometimes some students are hands-on, some students are, I can show them a video, some students are exploratory, where you give it to them and you give them some guidelines and let them kind of figure it out on their own. And some students you just got to say it 100 times. Some students you got to say it 100 times, but in different ways every time, because certain words just have no value to them, like whatever it may be. But I learned a lot about that for myself. I've learned how to speak to groups without using the constant and and like and that kind of thing. You know, I got caught doing that and improved in that way. But no, I didn't always want to teach, but I will teach at any point. You know, my favorite teaching is when it's random. When somebody asks me a question, I get hyped. I'm like, yes, please, let's do this. Let's talk about this. It's sick. It gets me excited. And that's kind of what I was like referring back to the very beginning when I was talking about finding a passion. That's one of the things that gives me the same kind of joys. If you pull out your thing after posting something and you have 900 likes or whatever, I get that same feeling, whatever it may be. You get $900 more in your paycheck. I get that same feeling when I get to teach somebody something. So
it's awesome. So you mentioned aspects of yourself. So I want to talk about, there's a big difference between elephants dancing and Saturn and the hula hoops. Although not as big as some might realize, you drew some connections for me with the time, with the time of the reggae versus dubstep, things like that. But are these coming from different parts of yourself?
100%. Yeah. I mean, when it comes to like Saturn and the hula hoops, there's no performance mindset about it, because I would love to perform as Saturn. I haven't yet, but since I've started it in like 2020, I put out like 150 tunes. You know, mostly just like they're all instrumental. I sing on some of them for fun, but it's very open to whatever I want to do, dude. I can just sit there and smash a keyboard and put it up on Spotify if you want to. I mean, anybody can. So like the freedom is there, and I don't need to worry about performing logistics, that kind of a thing. It's all just me inside of a DAW, like a digital audio workplace, and just going absolutely ham and exploring different things and trying some of the stuff I've learned in school, and kind of getting a feel with blending genres, or for example, learning a lot about audio engineering. I mean, that was definitely something that I am very grateful. It's like a byproduct of doing that, you know. There was stuff I heard in music and I wanted to recreate it, and I'm watching videos and experimenting and trying different things, and it helped a ton. All of the crazy music words that are on every mixer, every DAW, I know what they mean now. to an extent. I was learning, right? But it's just one of those things where I definitely would not be able to do what I can on a live bands mixer without the experience I've had with Logic. Maybe one day would have, but it was definitely streamlined there because I just had so much time, man. I had, especially because it was during COVID when I first started. I think I put out like 2 or 3 albums just in like 2020 because it's just so much time. You're just sitting at home, and it was a beautiful place for me to get lost in something.
So when did the brass
let me ask,
come in?
What am I going with?
Go ahead. So when did the brass composition become a part of Michael?
So like writing for the horns for elephants, is that like we're more?
Yeah, I mean
So I mean, like I think we started that on our second album that's not up. Like we did 2 albums before the 2 that are up now. It was called Get Tropical. It had 15 tracks on it. And we started to gather some musicians that played horns, and I already composed at that time. I already had like a software for composing. I had some classical pieces that were published. So it was very easy and more practical for the brass players, like the people we were bringing in, to have sheet music. So like the thing is like when you have a guitar player, that's like a foreign object to them, right? Something like a trumpet player or a trombone player, for the most part, they need that, you know, until they've had a lot of experience doing it. Like most times when you're pulling, especially at our age, like younger age, if you're pulling in like a horn player or whatever, their most experience is going to be lessons, concert band, wind ensemble, you know, orchestra, whatever it may be. So they're constantly recreating something that's right in front of them with dots and lines.
Right.
You know, like they're not focusing on improv. Now there's like the exception of like the jazz kids who play like more jazz oriented instruments, but jazz
Adam,
just isn't.
Yeah,
like Adam, for example, right? But he could also do the band stuff, which is great. And they do use their jazz chops for sure. Like you know, if you ever see elephants, you can see it. Like you can tell, especially as a horn player. But being able to write it allows this more like full, like conclusive type of thing, like all inclusive, making sure that their horn parts have some type of relation to the music that's already happened that everybody is hearing, whether it's the melody or a counter melody, something like that. But that started pretty early, honestly. And
did you tell him make the saxophone scream like at the end of Arcane when it's like
he did that. Danny was in there with them that time. I actually wasn't there for the horn parts. I didn't write those horn parts. I wrote the like orchestra for that, and he just kind of wanted them to go nuts. And I think they took like a bunch of takes, and Danny kind of did a really good job of just kind of chopping it up, planning out, and giving them direction on like what to add to it. No, but he did some cool like multi-harmonic stuff where you're playing like a growl or like it sounds like a scream to me, but it's like a high note. But if he does it in a certain way, he can get like an overtone, so you're actually hearing like 2 pitches, and it has this really cool effect. But yeah,
that was awesome. And then how many pieces were in that
it's like
composition at the end?
I could like open it up one of these days, but it's like 20. It was like 26 different layers while I was sitting in the van, like in Kevin, and it's like going like this, and I have like this little keyboard I'm trying to put it in. But it was like a ton of different string patches, a lot of just like redoing the same thing and not really caring that much about it being perfect to give it that orchestral, a lot of people are doing this kind of vibe. But it was a ton of layers. Like it's even hard to hear some of it, honestly. I mean, you can only do so much when it comes to mixing, especially when they're ripping solos and there's kits and guitar and bass and everything like that. But there's like flutes in there, there's harps in there, there's French horns in there, there's trombones in there, there's trumpets in there, without even the normal trombone and like that kind of thing, which is also with it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. The song's called Arcane, like that one anime off the new album, The Chronicles of Ringo and Kevin. Or is it Kevin and Ringo? Ringo and Kevin.
Kevin and Ringo.
Kevin and Ringo. Yeah, Kevin goes first and pulls.
That was wild to hear. Like usually, sometimes we get dancing elephants, but that was the first time I heard Ringo and Kevin. It's like I never heard it in that order. But if you're looking at it left to right, there's Ringo and Kevin. I mean,
I never see the album cover. I just
we gotta look
pop
at
it up on my Apple Music.
So let me ask you this, like, so with your background in music and the composing and everything, like that's got to make writing lyrics for like reggae, ska, punk, rebel type music. Or for writing it, not just lyrics, but writing the actual music, because you can really, really add some some interesting horn stuff. Like you know what I mean? Like yeah. Yeah. Brandon,
So
why?
how does, like learning composition relate to the utility of it in the band? Is that kind of like the basis?
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to
I
get
mean,
at.
I'm not gonna lie to
And
you,
I'm
man.
watching Brandon. And
It's one of those things where when it comes to knowing theory and learning how to read sheet music and stuff like that, this is kind of what I would tell a parent that's or an older student who wants to learn and is kind of like skeptical because it gets a bad rep. Like people see it as like a mathematical subject that you would learn in school, and like I'm thankful that sometimes it is. It's typically not, but it's also not like that. I look at it this way: if you can play music by ear, which people are usually proud of, which is cool, whatever, to each their own. Like you could play by ear, but you can't read. To me, that is like being able to speak, but not being able to write and read, like your language, you know? And you get a deeper understanding of things like phrasing, format, like literal form of a document, like that kind of stuff makes more sense. The understanding of like, why is a word spelled this way? It is also kind of like a parallel. It starts to make sense. If you hear something knowing music theory that you really like in your ears, you now have the words and labels to categorize it and recreate it in a different context. So it makes it easy, man. It's a breeze, you know. And like one of the trainings that I wish I had a little more of, but also helped a lot, is orchestration, and that is essentially like understanding the tessitura, which is like the range and how an instrument is affected by extreme ranges. Some of the quirks of the instruments, like some instruments have a break, like the clarinet, where at a certain note their instrument's physicality changes drastically, and their timbre, which is like a lot of guitar players would call timbre tone, like my guitar tone, how it sounds. Like you could have 6 guitar players playing the same thing, but they'll sound different because they have different tones or different timbres. It changes drastically on the clarinet once you cross that break. So when you're writing for it, you want to keep that in mind. If it's in the middle of a phrase, you don't necessarily want to cross the break, that kind of a thing. And it's similar to a saxophone and a trombone. A trombone player can go really fast. The saxophone player has a reed. That's really hard. However, he can go like run up a scale and down a scale super easy, no problems, has a ton of keys. Whereas a trombone player is like that's not practical, you know? So it helps a lot to make it so it's not only more fitting for the music, but it's very playable. Like it's very approachable for the horn players to play. Especially if Elephants, for example, we're lucky enough to have horn players, but if we didn't have like horn players like that and we wanted to hire people to come in, that would be a very important aspect of how well they perform it, just because it's more fitting for their instrument.
So I hear a lot of different influences too. Like even the I forget which song am I talking about. You got like the little Mexican horn riff there on the new album. You got a bunch of different styles of brass. What are your influences? Talk about.
I mean, a lot of like for a horn concert instruments, it comes from the classical world, like composers. I love French music. I love Ravel. I love Debussy. I love Sauté. I like those guys. However, I don't really use things of their world in our stuff because it doesn't really fit. I could talk about impressionist music forever, but I'll just skip that. It's more from like my experiences in concert band, my experiences with orchestration, using whatever me and Danny are currently singing, the chord progression in mind, that kind of a thing. It's all of it. It all comes together. You know what I mean? But like the influence thing is like it's based off of the song and the emotion that we're trying to push. Like Skashasa, that might be the one that you're hearing that in. For my harmonies and my verse, where I'm like, open up your ear holes, listen to the Elephant Banditos, I do it like a mariachi harmony. I literally looked up in one of the books I had to see how they achieve that, and there's a lot of like parallel fifths, which goes way against my classical studies. Like in Baroque music, Johann Sebastian Bach, parallel fifths were like, for the most part, there's obviously always exceptions, but for the most part, you didn't want that. And like mariachi music, that's what it is, man. Like that's what you do. So I recorded the harmonies being that way. So that's partially how we would approach using like influences in that kind of way for the horn specifically.
I was going for Sensimilia Eyes. I think that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that. You guys do cathart pretty hard a lot of times. You have Dylan songs on the new album. That's one of my favorite songs. It's weird. My favorite song on the album keeps changing a lot of times. Kind of depends on what mood I'm in. But
that's cool.
Well, how do you talk about the balance between? I mean, obviously the roots of reggae is struggle, catharting on through music. But there's also that feel good side to it as well. How do you find that balance between the two?
We don't care about it. We see it, we respect it, we take a note of it. You know, we try to do our best in respectful way of understanding what it is. But like at the end of the day, man, it's just me and Danny's pat. Like when we write music, we wrote like almost 50, 60 some songs together, you know, so we're just being creative, and we love, I would say, like, you know, I understand the whole history of reggae music. I understand the history of the different forms and areas that ska music was being brought about, like that kind of a thing. But it's more of like the musical elements that get me and Danny excited. Like we don't really sing about the typical things you would sing about in reggae music. Sometimes we do, but it's because we wanted to. You know, it's more of like that kind of thing where it's not like that doesn't really like control what we are and how we approach writing the lyrics and the music and stuff like that. It's more of the musical elements that we take from it. The bubble, the skank, one drops, sometimes harmonic language too. The chord progressions or certain chord progressions that we will just, you know, kind of use because it does fit the genre in a certain sense. But I don't think it's really like this is what they stand for and we're going to do that, because that's not us, you know, that's not us. That would be disingenuous. And it's also like we sing a lot, like these days we've been singing more about stories and experiences and that kind of a thing, and being very open about what has happened in history with us, like in our lives, and trying to make that so it's a relatable way for other people to hear it. I always had something against like being preachy and constantly singing about weed, just because we're a reggae band. Like it's what's expected of us, and it's cool. It's fine. There's no problem. Like no one's going to be against hearing a reggae band sing about those kind of things, and we do every once in a while. It's totally fine. But having the ability and the freedom to just we broke down in the van. Danny ran over my bass. Let's write a song about that, you know? And that's why I think ska works really well. Like we tend to use those genre flips in those kind of ways. But at the same time,
the crowd loves it too.
I mean, it comes down to musical elements where we think this change will hit hard here, kind of a thing.
The ska makes for a super high energy live show. It's amazing. If you haven't seen Elephants live, you really need to come to Harrisburg, November 15th, opening for Rome. You're not gonna want to miss it. They are an amazing live show. So I guess I
booked them before I ever seen them or heard them.
I think I remember that. Was that Allentown?
No, the Whalers. I didn't book you personally, but somebody reached out to me looking for a reggae band, and I went to L&J, not because I wanted L&J, but I went to them to see if they had any ideas, and they were like, yo, Chris said Elephants Dancing, and I knew your name. I just really didn't know any of your music at that point in time, and you know, apparently that worked out, and that's pretty awesome. So you opened up for the Whalers.
You guys were one of the first bands he told me about when we started this company. He's like, you're gonna love them. So we booked you for our inaugural show, actually, and that was when I met you guys. It was awesome. Yeah, it was a great time, and I was hooked. I do want to talk about Dead Plants too. Dead Plants is fucking awesome. Can I say fucking? I think so. Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Ashley LaRue crushed it. Toby Raps crushed it. Like, that is such a good song. And then you've also done a remix as well, right?
Yeah, I'm slowly starting to find ways to use my like Saturn and the Hula experience and kind of incorporate it into the reggae ska scene that we've been involved with within like the Maryland, Virginia Beach type of areas. There is a huge crossover, man. Like a lot of the dubstep artists, like electronic festival bass music artists, they use a lot of reggae elements, like I said, but also like samples, like quotes, like straight up, like let's gonna take this thing that's in a reggae band and toss it in here. But for the most part, like there's always a skank. There's always, it's focusing on bass. Like at the end of the day, reggae is kind of bass music. The bass is one of the most like, you know, moving around tone and important.
The bass and drums are it stand out the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so there's like that
yeah,
strong parallel, and I started to see it. Like, if you look into it, man, Revolution has had a remix done by Blunts and Blondes. Blunts and Blondes is like a very famous, dubstep artist, like whoa kind of stuff, like heavy bass music.
Right.
But he worked with Revolution, and there's a bunch of other ones that have been happening recently, and I love that stuff. So I'm just trying to jump on that train, and we have these homies that we've been meeting recently and playing shows, and I'm just like, hey, like, do you have stems? I'd love to mess around with this and give you a chance to be able to pull in people who may not have listened to reggae ska that much, but allow them to see
that's the cool thing about Elephants Dancing is you guys have been playing not just reggae shows. You're on with like shows last night. That was last night with
like a punk
Back
show.
Luna punk show. You've been on you played a festival at the Harley Davidson place somewhere out western Pennsylvania. I remember seeing like this you get diverse crowds.
They have mass appeal. Elephants Dancing has a very wide, diverse appeal. And
in different ages.
You see people our age like skanking and like dancing and skanking in front of us, and you look over and you see it like an older gentleman, and then you look like further that way and you just see like this little kid, and it's cool. Like that's
like
one of my
I've seen this. I've met the same people that older people at your shows multiple times. Like they like just big supporters. I love it.
So Michael, give me have you learned any life lessons recently? What has life taught you recently?
Oh my God. Oh man. Let's do like a positive one. I'm trying to pull a positive one out. Persistence. Patience and persistence. I find myself saying that as my response when somebody was like, "Did you figure it out? What was it?" And I just go, patience and persistence. That's it. Seriously. Because that's one thing that I find myself like, as an engineer, like when you're learning stuff, like, dude, it's patient. I could sit in front of a compressor for like an hour before I figure it out. Sometimes it takes 5 seconds. Sometimes it takes me an hour. Like when I write horn parts for Elephants, Danny is like, I like to use him in my perspective. He has like a different word that you can say. But for me, Danny is my like flavor filter. He's also a really good cook. So it kind of has like a secondary humor in there. But I use him as my flavor filter, so I could send him a horn part. Like, for example, Bad Friend. I wrote that Bad Friend like fanfare where the horns come in at the very beginning. It's like boo 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 doo doo boo 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 boo, right? Like a bunch of times. I probably wrote that like 17 times. And like the one side of it is like, yes, patience and persistence. We finally got to the result that we needed. But at the other time, I got better at what I was doing because I did it 17 times instead of once.
Yes.
So that would be my lesson that I've learned recently. And I just said that like the other day where they were like, what was wrong? How did you fix it? And I was like, patience and persistence, because they were getting a little stressed out. And I was like, just let me figure it out. I gotta get my bearings here. But
I've read that successful people don't like shortcuts. They appreciate doing that work because you learn things along the way. So very good advice.
Destination.
Let's talk about the beginning of Elephants Dancing. How did that start?
Oh my God. 10 years ago, me and Danny went to the same college or high school. And he also lived in the same town as me. So we were kind of like friends, not in like the way we are now, of course, because we have 10 years of working like really close together. But he sang for me the one day, and he did like some John Mayer song. And he had this great voice, and I was like, we should make music together. And I was really into Dirty Heads at the time, and he listened to a little bit of it and really got into it. So we kind of picked on, like, it wasn't even like we're gonna do reggae, it was like we're gonna do Dirty Heads, if that makes sense. Like, we rapped a lot in our very beginning of music that we wrote. Like, our first album ever was called Rituals, had 19 tracks. I rapped so much in it, and I never liked it. I still don't like when I hear it. I'm like, what was I thinking, but it was good, it was a good experience. That kind of thing. But
we have
it just
those moments.
Me and Danny grew up as drummers. Like, I was a drummer forever, like I said, and at that time, like, I had an acoustic guitar and he had one, but that was like it. I didn't even own a bass yet. I used Danny's dad's bass for like 2 or 3 years when we first started. I didn't even own one yet. or an amp or anything like that. So it took a minute, and it was one of those decisions where we're like, well, if we're gonna write together and sing, what are we gonna play? And I literally was like, I'll play guitar. I was like, all right, I'll play bass. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, that's kind of how it started, and it stuck that way. It stuck that way forever, and that's
both drummers. Neither's gonna play the drums.
And then we always recently, but we've always had a hard time with drummers. We hear like 12 drummers so far, you know.
So we do have a new drummer now, huh?
Yes.
How did that go? He learned
awesome.
Everything, picked him up.
Everybody asked me this, and I give them the same answer I gave him. You know, like the same compliment I gave him. His musical stuff is great. It's phenomenal. Like, I have no complaints there. I'm really excited to see like what we can pull off in the future. But the thing that separates him the most, there's two big things. One, it's all of the non-music stuff that just connects with us really well. It's the non-music related aspects of him that is perfect. And the other one was, I don't have one next to me. We can pretend like this is it, but I had a ball pen, like literally a pen, like I'm gonna draw like a pen in my hand, and it was his that fell when we were packing up from Hogs Hollow. And I went to Danny next to Nate, and I was like, this is what separates him from every other drummer we've ever had. I mean, this guy had all the notes. That's how I am. Like, he had like 15 loose leaf papers with all these different notes for different songs, and it shows a ton of stuff, man. It shows that he cares about what we're doing, but also shows that he wants to improve at every point, you know, and he's active listening, which is something I like to talk about a lot. So
is that someone you've known for a while?
No, I met him the other day. Dan actually met him. Dan came to Hogs Hollow, and he came from Maryland, so he actually had to come halfway through our set. This is the second time he's at Hogs Hollow. It's just, you know, travel. It works that way sometimes because he's a teacher. And so like Nate and Dan played a show together and then shook hands after and met. You know, which is kind of crazy. So, but yeah, I met him. We've been practicing, and I got to meet him like a couple weeks ago, maybe like a month ago.
That's awesome.
Nice.
You got anything you want to ask, Rich?
The name Elephants Dancing, where like that, like I'm curious, you know, why that name?
Next question.
Why did Kaylee get arrested?
That's a Danny question. That's a Danny question.
What did Kaylee get arrested for?
Yeah.
And how do you lose your keys on the fence?
That's also not me. It's Danny, man. I don't think.
The crazy thing is, man, is I listened to that's Reggae Show, right? I listened to that song, and it kind of reminds me of growing up in Bloomsburg, dude. Like, it really does. Like, we did that same shit, running from cops, running our mouths to cops. You know what I mean? Like, all of it. Like, it's
a video.
Nothing to do with any of that, though, man. My stuff is like, hey, man, you can buy this ticket. It's just like Reggae Show. There'll be people bubbling and smoking weed and stuff. Like, you should come. It's gonna be really fun. Like, that's like what mine's about. He's talking about stuff that's happened, which is really cool and it fits the vibe. Answer any of those questions. Like, I will tell you a funny story though. The one time in that music video on YouTube of Reggae Show, I like needed a prop, you know, and I used a soft banana, but I also got a piece of paper and just wrote ticket on it. And I was like, will you buy the ticket? So Danny, I can't remember where we were at. But we were in another state, and Danny went outside before the show and stood out there with a sign that was like Reggae Show, like buy a ticket or whatever. And like people were like trying to give him change. It was just so funny when he came in. He was like, I'm never doing that again. Like,
he almost got arrested for panhandling.
You gotta do what you gotta do to get people to come in, you know? This just wasn't the way.
Right. So did people buy tickets?
Yeah, I mean, not from him though. They just give him like a quarter. They were like, here.
Here. Poor, that's funny. So I'm just glad it's been an honor to be able to work and learn from you guys. Like, I've learned a lot about music through Danny. You know, a lot about booking, and you guys got your own festival, Camp Kevin. You know, you just did your second year, so Joe Samba headlining that. That was amazing. I think honestly, man, I think the sky's the limit for you guys. I can't wait till I see you on the big stage. I can't wait till I see you opening up for Slightly Stupid or the Dirty Heads, because it'll happen.
No,
It'll happen.
I can't wait till Slightly Stupid's opening up for Elephants Dancing. And I'm running front
hey,
of house.
listen,
You know what I mean?
Hey.
one day at a time, bro. One day at a time. that's the way I take it. One day at a time. Like we got to learn to walk before we run. But fuck stupid. No, I'm just kidding. They're gonna open up for you.
Nah, fuck them.
So yeah. So what's next? So what's next for Elephants Dancing? And actually, what's next for Elephants Dancing? And what is it? Saturn and hula hoops.
There you go. So for Saturn, I'm focusing a lot right now on doing the remixes. I'm trying to get artists to hit me up with stems. I'm like not like charging much to do it but just a little bit, because I want to make sure that they have like full rights to it, because it's their song, and it does take a long time, and I will never be done with it until they were extremely happy with it and freaking out about it, kind of a thing, If
anybody wants one, I do have a copy I can send you. Hit me up.
Yeah, they'll be released soon. Like we have one for Elephants that will be announced, in the near future, and I'm sure Ashley's will be released soon as well. And I'm in talks with a bunch of different bands. All it takes is stems. I kind of just work with it that way, and it allows them to shed light on a new song or an old song in a different way. Almost like you're re-releasing a song that people know already. It just has a different flavor to it, and then at the same time, you're also pulling in this genre that is different from yours but has parallels. So you might get people who just love dubstep, and they're like, oh yeah, this is a cool song, I wonder what the normal song sounds like, and they find themselves being like, oh wait, I kind of dig reggae, like this is cool, because it fits the same kind of thing.
A lot of overlap.
For Elephants, we're so we have a Halloween show on November 1st. We're doing the Rome stuff. We're writing already. Like me and Danny are constantly writing it, and it's always kind of hilarious. Like I'll send him an idea of a voice message with lyrics, and he'll respond with one, and we're just calling each other like, no way, we just did that at the same time. We write constantly and send it to each other, and sometimes it's literally in the same minute, same 2 minutes, where we're just, this is crazy. That's going to be happening soon. We're going to work on another album. We just love to write, and having features and making connections and building relationships with different artists in our scene and stuff like that. I think Danny, I'm assuming, is going to start booking tour stuff. I'm going to be playing a lot of acoustic things, solo stuff, under kind of the Elephants Dancing, Michael from Elephants Dancing kind of a deal. Saturn, another thing with Saturn is I've been practicing and doing sound design. A lot of stuff that Rich, we talk about all the time, I'm exploring on creating sounds to create with, if that makes sense, so it's you're taking a synth wave and throwing it through effects and creating feedback and pitching the feedback and throwing it in a filter and throwing it in LFO, all these crazy things, and just kind of creating a palette. It's almost if you're painting a color palette, where I'm okay, there's this cool bass, here's this cool kit, here's this cool synth, here's another bass, here's an effect that I made a preset out of my own that I really enjoy being able to use. And I might do an album, but I think I'm right now I'm doing that for the sole purpose of the remixes, and then once that has some ground and footing, and I'm kind of doing Saturn more often, I'll probably start releasing another album. I just have so much music on Saturn that it's I was at the point, and I loved it, and I want it back, where I just didn't care. I just was having a great time making this stuff and had easy access to release it, because I have a deal with Identity Music out of the UK that I can release for free. I don't have to pay anything. So I just was releasing music. Awesome. Have this, take this, take this, take this. And I have kind of a, believe it or not, a hula hoop flow community on Instagram that I'm lucky enough to say that they make a lot of videos and use my music. So I want to try to make sure I maintain that out of respect for them, and also the artists that I work with the remixes. I want to be able to have that foundation that I had earlier.
That's awesome.
Right on.
I'm excited about all of this for you guys. It's going to be an amazing year, amazing off season. We are out of time tonight. Hippie show is next. It's going to be an awesome one. Everybody should stick around and check that out. I want to say thank you to Michael for guest hosting with us.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you so much.
It was super interesting.
Absolutely. We'll talk sound, Michael.
Yeah, let's both talk classical too, though. Let me give you some composers, but go ahead. Finish that up.
Have a blessed night, everybody.
You too.
All my friends have dreads. 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 All my friends have dreads.